Strong new appeals tonight, and on this, the last Crimewatch of the millennium, we can report that we've had the best results in the programme's history. 21 arrests since last month, 19 of them as a direct result of viewers' calls, and 2 of them have resulted in charges of murder. We started last month with the death of the psychology technician Elizabeth Stacey at her university in central London. We appealed about one of Elizabeth's colleagues who'd gone missing, Stephen Reed. 2 viewers rang separately after the programme. Both said they thought the man we'd described was in Brighton, Sussex. The man was found, arrested, identified as Mr. Reed, and has been charged with Elizabeth's murder. The detective team and Elizabeth's family have asked us to express their profound gratitude to Crimewatch viewers. And the baffling death of Jean Barnes in Worthing, Sussex has culminated in charges too. Someone had opened bank accounts in Miss Barnes's name, and we showed some of the documents. They made a viewer suspicious, and she named a man who was unknown to the police. He was interviewed by detectives, and he's now awaiting trial for murder. The attack on 2 young women in their car has also led to charges. The 2 had hogged the outside lane on the A1M and then, by mistake, cut up another driver. It ended in an ugly confrontation on a slip road, with one of the girls needing treatment in hospital. 3 viewers named the same person, one giving crucial details, and a man's been charged with actual bodily harm, criminal damage and dangerous driving. Then a breakthrough even before we went on air. It happened because of a trail for Crimewatch. It's the curious case of the 2 apparently good Samaritans who gave 2 men a lift home, had drinks with them, then after they left, the family's car disappeared.
Where's Mum's car gone?
The vehicle was later used in an armed robbery on a jeweller's shop. As a direct result of a clip from the reconstruction, 7 people were arrested and a handgun was recovered, along with a quantity of jewellery. A lazy Sunday last month. A late lunch, then 2 girls go out for a stroll. What you're about to see is the culmination of a month of deeply unsettling behaviour by a man in Woking in Surrey. Both the girls were raped. Although you're watching actors, the voices are of people who were actually involved.
Whiskey Yankee to all units in the working area, particularly those in Goldsworth Park area. Description of male responsible as follows. We need Socko, photographer and dog. Male white, 5'8", 5'10".
She's in there with Mum.
Okay. Hello.
Hello.
Hello, I'm Elaine. I'm a police officer. Now, my special role is talking to people who've been involved in incidents like this one. So I'm going to have to talk to you a bit about this. We need to know something about this man, what he looks like.
Cropped hair, almost bald, just growing through.
If you want to take
Smelt
that,
strongly of smoke
take
and
that
armed with some sort of penknife.
Okay. Now, if you can tell me again exactly what happened. All right?
We always go for a walk on a Sunday after lunch, you know, just to chat about things.
Paul who? You know the one who was in 4R with Jenny, and then his parents moved to Guildford. He had to change schools. No? He was only here for about 18 months or something.
Oh, the one that used to hang around with Claire at the Arsenal.
He kept looking at us, which I thought was strange because he was watching us.
It looks really suspicious. Come on. Come on. I was thinking of getting my hair cut like
Don't you dare!
No.
just do what I say and you won't get hurt.
His voice sounded quite loud, but I think it's because he was so close to my ear. But he said the words quite calmly, softly. I said, we haven't got anything, and he said, I'm sure you have. We'll just go over here and have a look.
We'll just go over here and have a look.
Oh, you're hurting me!
And then we were walking quite quickly across this boggy field.
Yeah.
And I said, you can have my mobile phone. And he said, I don't want your mobile phone. And we got over to the woods, told us to kneel down. And he was searching through my coat and he was looking through my wallet. And he came over to me and put his arm around my neck, held the knife against me again. And he said to be quiet. And he said, "Do you understand?" And I didn't say anything, and he said it again, and I said yes. And then he pushed me down on the ground.
Go on.
And that was it.
Sorry. You all right?
Yeah.
Your wallet's by your feet. Keys are by your side. Have I got anything else of yours?
My phone.
I haven't got it. Must be around here somewhere.
Is he gone?
Think about everything you can remember about him and just think for a moment and then tell me everything.
He was clean shaven. He had dark rings under his eyes like shadows. His hair was like the football of Harlow, but his face was different. Much bigger, not so thin.
Like this?
Yeah.
What about the nose?
No, his nose was broader.
I just really hate him, and it actually makes me feel sick, like what he's done, and it makes me feel sick about him because I think only a sick person would do that.
Hello, incident room, WPC Croft. Right. Right, yes. Now, can you tell me where you think you saw him?
It was the 10th of October. I was leaving to go to school that morning with my eldest daughter. He was staring at me and he made me feel uncomfortable. I kept walking but kept looking round to see if he was coming any closer.
Surrey police have issued a photo fit of the man they want to question in connection with the rape of 2 teenage girls in Woking. He's of heavy build and was wearing a black bomber jacket and dark trousers. The assault happened near Goldsworth Park Lake last Sunday evening. The girls were threatened with a knife and attacked in a nearby play area.
I've just seen the photo fit of a man on the television who I think approached me in Virginia Water.
It was Wednesday the 13th of October, and as it was a lovely sunny day, we thought we'd go for a walk and a picnic at Virginia Water.
Well, you deserve the break. You haven't had one for ages.
Yeah, I was exhausted.
My baby.
That bloke, I just saw him behind the rhododendrons.
What bloke?
That bloke.
He was trying to look casual.
Is there room on there for me?
He looked quite ill. He had like a grey complexion.
Yes, plenty. We're just going, actually.
I thought, how inappropriate. We're 2 girls and we're away from other people, and you're a single man and we don't know you.
My sister heard the dogs barking and barking, and when she went outside to see what all the noise was about, there was this bloke climbing over the garden fence.
And this was on the 26th of October, Tuesday.
That's right. And then the next day, I was just popping out to the shop with a friend, and we just turned up this alleyway.
His hair was sandy, a cropped sandy hair, and he was about 5'6" and quite a big build. He's come straight towards us, so we've run into my mum's friend's house.
His
It's always on my mind. I have dreams about it. The people that know it's happened, it seems like they all know it's me. I don't go out because I think that he's still around. And if someone's walking behind me, I have to stop because I always think like they're going to come behind me. And I always grab hold of my mum's hand.
Brian, the way he was so calm during those rapes, you think he's done something like this before? Do you reckon he's going to do something like it again?
We can't dismiss the fact that he has committed similar offences before which haven't been reported yet. And yes, this is a dangerous man, and we think he will commit other offences.
This is all happening between October and November, assuming all these sightings are of the same man. Of course, that is an assumption.
Yes. All the incidents that have been shown, the witnesses have described the man as very similar to the CD fit, and they've all happened in a very similar area or similar type location.
All around Woking. And one of them, he was wearing shoes identical to these. Now, obviously, you don't want just to know who has shoes like these, because there are a lot of them. They're not that common, these Nikes, are they?
No, they're Nike Attest shoes. They've only been on sale since July, and we believe the offender was wearing that when he committed the rapes in Woking.
So there you've got these Nike Attest shoes, you've got that sort of man, and it's in the Woking area. Put those three together.
Yes, and what we're hoping, obviously, is that somebody out there will know who the offender is, will recognise the CD fit, somebody's son, somebody's boyfriend, somebody's neighbour, and we're hoping linking the CD fit with the shoes that will prompt them to make a call to us today.
Two of these sightings were on Sundays. Two of them were midweek during the middle of the day. So either these are different people, or it's somebody who's unemployed or is able to be away from work in the middle of the day.
Yes, it is difficult to know whether he's working or not working. The reason why now is another question that we're asking ourselves, and it may be prompted by something that's happened in his life. He may have just been made redundant, he may have had a relationship breakup, but it is difficult to tell which of those.
With these sort of offences on Crimewatch, everybody wants to help, everybody. But you know, it's terribly difficult. If you think it's your son, if you think it's your ex-boyfriend or whatever, it's so hard to make that call. How easy is it to eliminate people if they're innocent?
With the information that we have got at the moment, it will be very easy for us to eliminate people who callers call in about, and we can do it very quickly and very easily.
Please then give us a call. You've heard he remains a danger, so whatever your suspicions, however mild, if you can put those three things together, even a couple of these clues, let us know. Ring us in the studio 0500 600 600, that's a free call, or you can ring the incident room direct on 01483 484 025. That's Woking 484 025. And now, here is Jackie Hames, back after her absence last month, and I'm delighted to say, after delivering a bouncing baby boy, Oliver James. Jackie.
Thank you, Nick, but I'm not sure you need me back after all your successes last month, but let's see if we can solve these two unusually vicious robberies in London. They're unconnected, but they are so dangerous, both merit national appeals. 3 weeks ago, a man tried to rob this grocery store in Hounslow, Middlesex. As you can see, the violence used was terrible and unnecessary. The store owner managed to touch a panic alarm, and an accomplice called out the axeman. They escaped empty-handed. Miraculously, the store owner survived, but this man does have to be stopped before he hurts anybody else. Both men were light-skinned Asians, and there was a third white man waiting for them outside. The incident room number, if you can help, is 0181 247 6157. That's 0181 247 6157.
The other attack was in Harlesden in early October. This man comes to buy some cigarettes, but as soon as the cashier opens the till, all hell breaks loose. He's grabbed the cashier while an accomplice turns up and clubs him with a piece of wood. An assistant who came to his aid had his arm fractured. So, who are these two? The incident room is on 0181 733 3185. That's 0181 733 3185. Or you can ring us here live in the studio on 0500 600 600.
Now a murder and a tragedy. Ben Kamlalagi was a paratrooper in the army. Having finished his stint, he settled in his hometown of Manchester. In October, he and his girlfriend were expecting their first child. But a month before the baby was born, Ben was attacked by 4 men. He was punched, he was kicked, beaten with a wooden fence post until he was dead. Have a look at these faces. Police believe that they could provide vital information. Rickton Henry, Anthony Curtis, Richard Smith
and Patrick McDonough, sometimes known as PJ. All four come from Salford, where the murder took place. Now, where are they tonight? Rickton Henry, Anthony Curtis, Richard Smith and Patrick McDonough, or PJ. The incident number is 0161 856 7834. That's Manchester 856 7834. Securicor have one of the best reputations for good security systems and the safe transportation of money, and in this next case it's no exception. The would-be thieves got away with nothing. But the violence they used so sickened a passerby that he risked his life to intervene.
From around the county, Britain and across the world on FM 95.3 and 103.5.
It's BBC Essex at 5 to 3.
Tell him to give me that money right now! Are you listening there? Hurry up! Tell him to get a move on! Just tell him!
I couldn't believe what I was seeing. The way they were setting about the guard. I had eye contact with the one who was standing nearest to me. It was just a glaring look as if you're in the way. It was a nasty stare.
Come on, what's keeping him? The bloody hell's our money!
Emergency.
Police!
Right, bear with me a minute. Thank you. Police, can I help you?
There's a robbery! Bush Fair, Harlow!
It's very frustrating. I was sitting in that car on that phone and I could see all this going on and there's nothing you can do. It was the way he was laying into that guard. I can see that as clear as a bell. There was no need for all that violence. Another couple of minutes, that place would have been full of kids.
Right, that's it!
At that point in time, I was going to just back out and let them just crash into me.
You better hurry up! They're getting away!
After seeing what they'd done to the guard, I just couldn't believe they were going to get away. But there was that bit between, you know, going that far and not going that far. But they just couldn't sit back. I decided I'd follow the car.
Right, and how many people with the vehicle?
There's two in there about the black balaclavas on.
They'd seen me and I'd seen them and things go through your mind. I knew there'd been a gun and it was when I drove into the garages where they'd left the car next to the skid and looked for the gap. I realised then, you know, what am I doing? And that's when I backed out and drove back up the hill. You know, I could have followed them at the end of the earth, but it's still not the same as catching them, is it? And that's what aggravates me. It does frustrate me that they got away and how close they was to being caught. As I drove up that hill, I saw a dark-haired fella run out into the road. He reminded me of Robbie out of EastEnders when I first looked at him, without the spots. Between 5'6" and 5'8", skinny, black hair, pulled up where he pulled the balaclava off. It was a look of, I know you, you know me. I knew that the person I was looking at was the one I'd seen over at Bush Fair, and at that point in time he'd had a balaclava on, and here he was without one. Drove away in a maroon-coloured R-registered Mondeo.
So a maroon R-registered Mondeo, a slim, dark-haired white man, and maybe a smaller, Asian-looking man was involved too. This man was seen before the robbery standing by the BMW that was used as the getaway car. There's a £50,000 reward. The men are a public danger. If there's anything you can add, give us a call.
And the number of the incident room is 01279 625 412. That's Harlow in Essex, 625 412. And you can claim that reward of £50,000 anonymously. If you have information leading to a conviction, you can do that by calling Crime Stoppers on 0800 555 111.
Now some con men to watch out for. Actually, one con man and one con woman. This is the man. He's in his mid-20s, he's blonde and expensively dressed. He presented a forged driving licence and a credit card at Thomas Cook in Eastleigh, Hampshire, but the astute staff were suspicious and held on to them. Now this happened back in May, but we still haven't found him, so give us some help. 01703 745 341, that's Southampton, 745 341. And in a separate case, the con woman is small and brunette and always seems to have a mobile phone. This is in a bank at Falmouth in Cornwall at the end of August. She's sometimes accompanied by a 6-foot, slim, clean-shaven Afro-Caribbean man. And it's possible that she's travelled widely using forged credit cards and driving licence. So who is this woman and where is she? If you know, ring us here, or the incident room number is on 01579 325 490. That's Listgard 325 490.
Were you at the seaside in Bexhill, Sussex back in August? If so, maybe you could help solve a mystery. Have a look at this CCTV from Couden Beach Station as a train arrived from London. This is Violetta Wilkanowska from Poland, who had been in Britain for just 8 months. Violetta didn't return home that day and her body was found 3 months later, 2 miles from Couden Beach. At present, it's not clear how she died, and that's indeed the mystery. We're keen to talk to these fellow passengers who may have seen Violetta meeting someone off the train. Did you see her that day in Couden Beach or know why she went there? If you can help, 01424 456 105. That's Hastings 456 105.
We've had already quite a lot of calls with some quite strong leads, it seems, on the rapes in Woking. At least 8 names have come in, but significantly 2 separate men have been named twice. In one case, a man named twice. As far as we can check, he already has a criminal record for not dissimilar offences, so obviously that is something that's going to have to be checked fairly quickly. Let's now see if you can help with our next appeal. It's another sex attack. In fact, the Sun calls him a serial sex beast, which gives you a flavour of this. It's a young man who's been attacking women all around Luton in Bedfordshire and has struck at least once in nearby Hitchin. We know it's completely separate from the Woking offences. 14 victims have so far been identified. One was just 11 years old. So this, too, is an appeal to mums, sisters, friends, employers, anyone who lives or works in Luton or nearby.
This is roughly what he looks like. In this case, the victim was aged 19. And here's another impression of him, this time as recalled by a girl of 14. We know it's the same man because these attacks are linked by DNA. He's slim, with light brown hair, and has a bad complexion, either spots or pockmarks on his face. 3 months ago, he had a thin goatee beard. There seems little pattern, with attacks happening day and night. Several women were dragged from the streets. One was walking with her child at the time. An 11-year-old was grabbed as she walked home from school. One 14-year-old was assaulted in a busy park in mid-afternoon. One woman woke up to find him in her bedroom at 2 a.m.
I was absolutely terrified. What can you do when you've got a knife held to your head? You can't do anything. I thought I was going to die. I really thought I was going to die.
What he did is tantamount to rape. He may have a reason to gravitate round the Park Town area in the south of Luton, and other clues point there too. The first offence was in April 1998. Was he shocked at what he'd done, or was he away for a year, because nothing seemed to happen then until this May? There were 2 attacks that month, and except for a break from mid-July to mid-August, they've been happening ever since. From October, he seems to have moved north along the A505 towards Stopsley and Hitchin. He's often worn a black beanie, and sometimes a red baseball cap with a yellow emblem. And in one attack, he had a leather Levi belt. This child's drawing by one of his victims shows the sort of jacket he wore when he assaulted her. A bomber jacket's been recovered from a bin in Stopsley soon after a woman was grabbed nearby. Did you put it in there innocently? Do you know anyone who used to own a bomber jacket but hasn't worn it for about a month? The attacks in the Luton area have become so frequent there's a real urgency to solving this, and a forensic psychologist has been brought in to compile an offender profile.
This man may be likely to regard his victims as sexual conquests, and he may have bragged to others about them. In fact, he'll have little real sexual experience. He seems naive about sex, and if he's had a girlfriend at all, it will have been a difficult relationship. He'll have few close friends, and he'll be shallow with little real concern for others. If he has a job at all, it will be unskilled. This is a dangerous sex offender who will continue to offend. He cares little about the feelings or suffering of these, and as such, any female could become another one of his victims.
I'm so angry. There's not a day goes past that I don't remember what happened. I can't push it away and forget it, but I'll get over it, because I won't let someone like that beat me, because he's scum.
David, everybody has a shared interest in trying to stop this guy. Everybody will ring in if they can, except that it's this age-old problem. If you are a mum, if you are a sister, if you are an uncle, you can't put your relative, your friend, into circumstances like this unless you're pretty sure. How easily can you eliminate somebody who's innocent again?
Very easily. This is the first time we're publicly stating we have DNA evidence, we can link the offences, and therefore the relative shouldn't have any fears whatsoever in coming forward to us with information. It is vital, in fact, they do so. This man will attack again, and he will attack victims, women victims.
He either lives in Luton or he's got very, very strong links there, but I think a couple of the witnesses said he had an Irish accent. Lucky, there are quite a lot of Irish people who live in Luton.
That's quite correct. The two victims were in fact Irish, and were adamant that they were Irish. Other women have in fact been equally adamant that he's got a local accent, so he could be mimicking an Irish accent, but he certainly has very strong connections with the Luton area.
The profiler warned that not all those items, those aspects that he'd identified are going to be true necessarily.
That's right.
That anybody who's watching who can identify 2, 3, 4 of them, put them together with somebody who looks like that, someone who's in the Luton area, that's the sort of person you want to call in.
Definitely. They've got to use their imagination with CD fits and have the confidence to know we can eliminate anybody that's innocent, so they can have the confidence to do that and to contact us straight away.
He'll have very few friends, the profiler thinks, so it's going to be quite difficult in some respects. It's going to be an ex-girlfriend if you have one, it's going to be the family, probably, right. But he is going to be something of a lone, you think. I know you said this has had a terrible effect on the victims. You've dealt with many rape cases, but this has had, if anything, an even more traumatic effect.
Irrespective of the age, from 11 through to 30, the women have had a terrible effect. It'll haunt them for months, and the only thing that's going to help them and help other women is the arrest of this individual. We need the public help to do that, and I have every confidence that they'll come forward and pass these details for us.
Well, please don't assume someone else is going to make that call. If you know anything, please make the call yourself, even if you suspect something. The studio number, the free call is 0500 600 600. Call us any time tonight. Or the incident room, 01582 394 147. That's Luton, 394 147. And if you've been a victim of this crime and haven't reported, or indeed of any crime and would like to talk to someone about it, you can ring Victim Support Line, and there'll be people there taking calls until about 2 a.m. And their number is 0845 30 30 900.
A 19-year-old has been convicted of grievous bodily harm with intent after a shocking attack on a man in Camden in North London that we featured back in March. Jahangir Mir was sentenced to life, not only for the Camden stabbing, it was found he'd knifed 3 other people in a separate attack in Berkshire. The judge, Timothy King, said, "I commend BBC Crimewatch UK for bringing this man to trial." 2 Crimewatch viewers came forward as new witnesses after a baby was abducted from his mother in Bradford. Their evidence, together with forensic clues, has led to 6 men being charged with kidnapping. But the little boy, Daniel, is still missing. And a tragic case from February when a motorist, Danny Sargent, was killed on the M25 by a chunk of metal that burst through his windscreen. It came from a lorry's brake drum, and when we showed CCTV of the lorry, 100 viewers rang with suggestions about who owned it. As a result, it was traced to a company in Cambridgeshire. It turns out the business has a first-class reputation, the vehicle was properly maintained, and the driver was unaware of what had happened, so there are no criminal charges. But the family can now claim for civil compensation.
And now we have a series of robberies. This loud and particularly aggressive man has attacked building societies in Derbyshire, Gloucestershire, Leicestershire, Hertfordshire and Berkshire. He has very fair hair and a noticeably pale, thin face. Somebody watching must have an inkling who he is. Take a really good look. If you recognise him, then ring the incident room number on 0116 248 5055. That's Leicester 248 5055.
He's over 6 foot, thin, urbane, in his 50s, knows a lot about jewellery and maybe trades in it. If that's anyone you know, take a look at this. It's a man who's been frequenting jewellers in Harrogate and Halifax, and while the shopkeeper's distracted, been stealing rings and bracelets, and perhaps oddly always leaves a cheap version in its place. Look at him closely. Has he been in your shop? Do you know who he is? 0500 600 600, or you can call the incident room on 01423 539 431. That's Harrogate 539 431.
Can you imagine the terror of working in a bank and a man handing you a note like this? It's been forensically treated, but it warns he has a bomb and demands money. It's badly written and badly spelt, so take a closer look at the word minutes. And do you recognise the rounded E's or the B's in the words bomb device? Take another good look. Can you tell us who wrote this? And here's the man who's used it. We've caught him on camera as he ran out of a bank in London's Baker Street. Is this him on the tube platform? The number for the incident room is 0171 387 0354. That's 0171 387 0354. Or on all three of these cases, you can ring us here in the studio, 0500 600 600.
Now 2 reappeals. They're both murders, they're both cases we want to keep on coming back to until they're solved. You may recall that earlier this year, a Swedish tourist, Maria Wojnicki, was dragged to her death from a bus in central London. Though it happened in March, detectives are still hoping they're going to hear from witnesses tonight. But also there's a growing possibility that in the months since Maria died, you or somebody has been hearing rumours.
We will soon be arriving at Paddington Station, which is an excellent gateway to London. We hope you've enjoyed your journey with us on Heathrow Express today. Thanks for travelling with us this afternoon, and we wish you a safe and pleasant onward journey. Welcome to London.
I wish we could take the train straight to the apartment. Hey, Andre.
And then a number 10 to the flat. And according to the guidebooks, we'll be passing the Albert Memorial on the way.
The family went to catch a bus in Kensington High Street to take them to Knightsbridge.
Told you it wasn't far.
When the family got on, they were holding the whole bus up with an enormous amount of luggage. And the bus conductress got very upset.
Fred, I'm going to have to ask you to put those in the luggage rack so you'll cause an obstruction.
Well, we're only going a couple of stops.
Doesn't really matter, I'm afraid.
I knew you had bought too many things.
I'm nearly there, don't worry.
Shall I take that?
If you don't mind.
I do distinctly remember seeing him and saying, well, that's an extraordinary handsome chap. He had close-cropped Afro-type hair and a fairly tanned, dark skin. He had this sort of aquiline features. He was just staring straight ahead of himself. He didn't look at anybody in the eyes.
Just after the Albert Memorial at the junction with Exhibition Road, with the conductor upstairs, an attempted handbag snatch.
Nearly there, Andre.
Her head went the most awful crack on the road.
Did you see what that man just did?
I jumped off. A van came along, and I thought, my God, he's going to hit her. I could see him running across the road. He was tall. I should think he was over 6 feet. He was slender. He had a sort of broad forehead and fairly high cheekbones and an aquiline nose.
David, after all this time, this is March, we're talking about Saturday, the end of March. Are you going to find new witnesses at this stage?
Yes, I think so. 10 months have moved on, you're quite right. There were a lot of people on the bus that as yet have not yet come forward. There were people in Exhibition Road. It was a fine Saturday afternoon in March. I would be appealing to anyone in the area, Kensington Road, where they saw this man being chased into Exhibition Road. Those on the bus yet to come forward. Please contact us either in the programme or at the incident room.
Your best hope, I suppose, is that this guy would have confided in friends. You know, he'd have gone back and said, God, you see what happened to me today? And that loyalties might have shifted, or that people's consciences might be pricking now after this time.
Yes, that's correct. It was some months ago. I believe that this is an opportunist thief. I believe he may have committed this type of handbag offence before. He has friends and associates that he would have confided in. I appeal to those people. Would they want to see this happen to their mother? Allegiances change. I would appeal to them directly to come forward and speak to the police.
I can see that, you know, however appalled they were at what happened, there's bound to be somebody watching tonight who does know who did this and is likely to say, well, look, this is 10 months ago, we can't bring the woman back to life. He didn't intend to kill her, so far as I can see. Why on earth should I ring him? What's the point?
Well, I think the point is that this person needs to be caught, and this matter will not be closed until we have actually caught that offender.
For the family?
For the family. For the boy. I would ask directly to the person responsible to come forward, to contact the police, where I can assure him he will be dealt with sympathetically.
I get the impression you're not going to let this one drop.
We'll not. Not until we've caught the person responsible.
Okay, well, let's hope he has the courage to call in himself tonight, if he didn't really intend to kill her. You can ring the incident room at Paddington Green on 0171 321 9640. That's 0171 321 9640. Now, the other case we're keeping tabs on. 2 years ago, 21-year-old Tracy Wilde was murdered in her flat in Glasgow. We made an appeal back in March last year, and because of that, 119 people were identified, but they've been eliminated. And separately, over 2,500 people have been DNA tested, but Tracy's killer has still not been found. This is another case they won't give up on. Tracy, a single mum, had a difficult and unhappy childhood. She struggled with a heroin addiction, and then to feed her habit, eventually she turned to prostitution. It's 2 years on, but as I say, detectives are going to keep this case going, and so are we. Think back 2 years if you can, November 1997, Sunday night, and into the early hours of Monday morning.
After spending most of the night in Glasgow city centre, Tracy arrived home with a man, probably a client, in a dark blue Ford Escort. If this was you, detectives are determined to find you. Please call. And did you then give a lift to Tracy back into town? This is Tracy at the Drug Crisis Centre in West Street. She collected clean needles and condoms and left shortly after 3 a.m. She walked towards a blue car. Was this the same man from Barmulloch half an hour earlier? 7 minutes later, Tracy walked along Waterloo Street and into Wellington Street, an area known as the Drag. At the same time, this man was recorded round the corner, heading in Tracy's direction. A few moments later, a man was running along Waterloo Street. 3 a.m. November 2 years ago. Could this have been you? And is this the same man with Tracy? Unusually, he had his arm around her, which begs the question, was she going voluntarily? This is the last time Tracy was seen alive.
These keys are clues which were not disclosed in our first appeal, and these are identical to Tracy's keys taken from her flat and used by her killer to lock her door. And on one side there's a picture of a little girl. On the other it says Tracy. These keys could have been discarded soon after, or conceivably kept by someone as a grisly memento. Now, it is a long shot, but if you've seen these keys, or think you have, anywhere in the last 2 years, or recognise anyone from the CCTV we've shown, please call us. Tracy's daughter is now 5. She's still too young, really, to understand what happened to her mum. But just one call tonight, please. That's all we need. Detectives in Glasgow are standing by now on 0141 532 4605. That's Glasgow 532 4605.
Now, how good are you at recognising people from their backs? These two are going into Victoria Underground Station in London about 6 weeks ago. Now, we need to eliminate them from a savage knife attack. A hotel worker was getting into his car in Grosvenor Road near Victoria at the end of October when someone slashed his face from mouth to ear. Not realising how seriously he was hurt, he fought back and his assailant ran away and left this Nike baseball cap. Now, did you witness the attack? Then these two were seen going to the tube station. These images may help, although we have only half of one of the faces. This really was a horrendous attack, so please, if you can help, call the incident room on 0171 321 6872. That's 0171 321 6872.
Now, we're still in London, but this time where a huge drugs operation has resulted in the arrest and conviction of over 20 dealers in crack cocaine and heroin. But to finish this inquiry, we'd like to find 3 more men. Now, this is Everald War, but his street name is Jew, that's spelt J-U. And you know who this is standing beside him. We don't have his name, but it's a very good picture. And this third man, he's Dennis Francis, street name Nans, and he's got a scar on the side of his head and one on his chin. If you know any of them or where they are, then call us here in the studio or ring the incident room on 0171 232 6133. That's 0171 232 6133.
Let me tell you a little more about the calls we've had on the man who raped 2 girls in Woking in Surrey. I said that we'd had 2 calls, 2 names rather, that had been mentioned by 2 separate callers. We've now had 5 separate names suggested by multiple callers, but one of them has been suggested 3 times, and in one case a prison officer has rung in and said he recognised the e-fit, and a lot of these seem to be linking together, and that's true too on the Luton sex attacks. Now, frankly, we've had one piece of information I'm going to have to be very careful about. It comes from a prison officer, and a police officer rather, and it really ties in so many different pieces of information. It looks very, very promising indeed. We've had about just under 60 calls on that one, 6 names, and actually 2 of those calls now, just in the last few moments, another one's come in, which again ties in, so that is looking very promising. On Ben Kamanalagi, his murder, we've got a very, very high quality of calls there. Again, that may result in some actions tonight, so I'm not going to go into any details. And take a look again at some of the other faces that we're looking for tonight. This is the man who attacked a shopkeeper with an axe. This is the blonde con man who tried to get foreign currency with false documents. The woman with the fake ID and who seems so attached to that mobile phone she's got. And the man who's been holding up staff in building societies across 5 counties. And that is just about the last appeal on Crimewatch for tonight, and indeed for this millennium. If ever there was a time to put crime in perspective, surely this is it. For all the headlines crime gets, for all the coverage on Crimewatch, for all the bitterness, the sadness in this studio where we were so profoundly affected this year. For all that, we are now safer than at any time in history. And given your help tonight, we'll make an even better start to the next 1,000 years. If you still have information, please call us. The numbers are on CFAX on page 621. You can email us at Crimewatch UK at the BBC. On any of these cases, you can call Crime Stoppers anonymously if you want, 0800 555 111. And join us for Crimewatch Update at 11:10. If that's past your bedtime, see you next month, next year, next millennium. Tuesday, January the 25th. Don't have nightmares. Have a brilliant Christmas and a fabulous New Year. Good night.